And it's Ken Kraetzer for CBSIServices, talking business. We're in New York City today. Have a chance to talk to our friend Ruth Stevens, who is a educator, consultant on business-to-business marketing. Is going to be teaching in India coming up, and in Asia, and also in Denmark. Ruth, good to see you.
Thanks, Ken. Delighted to be back with you.
Pleasure. Tell us now. First, tell us about your summer and some of the marketing innovations, some of the topics that you saw that are making a difference over the summer this year.
Sure. Well, as you know, Ken, I specialize in business-to-business marketing, and there are some really interesting new developments that I've been working on this summer. One that might interest your audience in particular is the arrival of millennials into the B2B buying process as these millennials get older and get more and more responsibility as employees in their companies. They're starting to be influential in determining which vendors get the business. And this means for us marketers that we have to be aware of who these guys are and what are their behaviors and how they're different from the baby boomers and the others ahead of them. And one thing that is turning up that's so interesting is that while they look at websites like baby boomers for understanding what the service offering is of a particular vendor, they actually look first at social media. And this is not necessarily a surprise to business marketers, but it's a big difference with the way that they've been selling before. So this means that we as business marketers have to be really active on social media and making our cases there and getting the attention that we deserve. So that's a new development.
Well, certainly interesting. We certainly see business consumer on platforms such as Facebook and Instagram, and where do you find the platforms that reach a business audience? Which ones do you find to be most effective?
Well, LinkedIn is the king, of course, no surprise. But the surging importance of Facebook has really taken business marketers by storm. I would have said 10, 15 years ago, don't even bother with a Facebook page, but these days Facebook, simply because of its enormous reach globally, is more important than ever.
Absolutely, that's what we found, and you have a huge following on LinkedIn. I think about over 7,000 people.
Yeah, it's getting up there. I'm flattered and pleased.
Well, you've got a couple of articles that you posted this month on LinkedIn on your page, Ruth Stevens, and one was something interesting concept that every business owner has to pay more attention to. How well do you know your customer data? Knowing what data that you're holding. The Direct Marketing Club of New York seminar last week with Axiom spoke to this point that companies have to be responsible from a privacy point of view, what data they have. Tell us a little bit about, you had a lot of interesting and important points in your article.
Thanks. That article was really targeted less to business owners or corporate, say, privacy officers or other senior executives, and more to individual marketers, whether they're B2B or B2C. I was making the point that we can't shy away from being really knowledgeable about the information we have about our customers. And this is worth paying attention to because there's a certain segment of the marketing profession that enters the profession or gets interested in marketing because they're particularly insightful, they understand psychology, they're trying to create important and persuasive messages. And when it comes to data and other sort of geeky stuff, they may be hesitant to really dive in. And I was offering a couple of tips for how marketers who are not necessarily personally inclined to think about data can get into it in an accessible and productive way and really become comfortable with customer information.
Absolutely, and you referenced an article in that by Stephen Hayes. Do marketers really want to be data scientists? And I think today you have to be. I mean, you have to understand data in order to use it properly and to be able to reach customers. What do you see about what level of expertise do marketers really have to have in understanding proper data use?
Great question, because the term data science really can be off-putting to a marketing strategist. And what is important for marketers to be able to do is less about how to build a model, but more about how to understand what a model is telling you on the output side, and then on the input side to craft questions that a data scientist can actually have a prayer of answering for you. So it's really about understanding the business value of data analytics, and statistics, so that you can make better marketing decisions.
Very good. And you have a recent article out on LinkedIn about ratings and review sites, the new B2B, and certainly places. We looked at a couple of them where business-to-business marketers can promote their programs and products and services, and take reviews. Now, tell us a little bit about why these have emerged.
Well, there are two reasons in my view. One is the popularity of ratings and review sites in our consumer world, like TripAdvisor and Yelp, are extremely helpful to us as individual consumers. And the second driver of their development in B2B is that they're really helpful for allowing buyers to understand the differences among an array of product options in a crowded marketplace. And this is why in B2B, the number one category for these sites is software and office products. And these are both very crowded categories where it's difficult to distinguish the differences among products, and buyers really need help. So in that sense, ratings and review sites are a natural for some B2B product categories. Now, on the other hand, none of us likes to have a bad review. And so business marketers are hesitant, especially business owners or product managers may be hesitant to allow their products to be listed on these sites. But the truth is, you can't avoid it anymore. And instead of crawling under your desk and going into a panic, I'm advising that we embrace this new development and figure out how to turn it to our own advantage. And one of the obvious advantages is that the reviewers are saying things about our products, some of which can actually give us new business opportunity. It can provide us with testimonials and use case examples. So if there are, and there are ways that you can influence the ways reviews are written. For example, ethically, I mean, for example, asking your best customers to go write a review. And so if there is
Sure.
a bad review, it can be offset by one of your satisfied customers. So.
Very good. Is there a leading business-to-business rating and review site that you think someone should try out first?
Well, there are several. One of the earliest one was called Capterra, and it was purchased by Gartner. These days, I think the big daddy is called G2 Crowd, 2 written in the numerical fashion, and then Trust Radius is trying to make its way in the marketplace by emphasizing its transparency and trustworthiness, which is, of course, essential to the success of this type of business. So those are some of the big players.
Very good. Well, those two articles that you wrote this month, Ruth, can be found on your LinkedIn page, Ruth Stevens, President of eMarketing Strategies. And Ruth, you've developed this opportunity for yourself to teach, not just here in New York, but to teach overseas, going to Asia. And you're going to India very soon to teach a course. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right. I'm so excited to return to Bangalore to the Indian Institute of Management, where I taught last fall to so-called PGP, which is their version of MBA students. The campus of the Indian Institute of Management is one of the most beautiful I've ever seen, and they're nice enough to give me housing there, and the food is, of course, delicious. So I'm looking forward to another sojourn there. I'll be there for 5 weeks. And on the tail of that, I have an opportunity to give a lecture in Hanoi at a business school on my way back, and also to stop in Tokyo and do a couple of seminars there. So looking forward.
Good. I know Hanoi will be something new for you. Is there any anticipation of what level business they're at, what stage of business development they're at, that the level of expertise that you can share with them?
Ken, once I know, I will let you know. It'll be my first visit there, and I'm not very well versed on business practices there, but I know it's a booming economy, a lot of enthusiasm for business development, and I think I'll pick up a lot of insight while I'm there.
Very good. Should be fascinating. And then you're going to stop in Europe on your trip at Copenhagen, Denmark, to do a series of lectures. Tell us a little bit about your trip to Denmark.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, on the way to India, I'm stopping in Copenhagen to do a couple of talks at the Danish Technical University Executive Ed Department. I'll be talking about how customer value drives shareholder value, which is a topic of great interest to business owners. And I'm also going to give a talk about what's new and what's working in B2B marketing today. Looking forward to that.
Very good. Ruth Stevens, is there a key thought that businesses should be looking out for, business to business? This fall, there was concern at the conference we were just at in Washington about the economy softening to some extent. And we loved it when somebody said, yeah, you've got to keep your value proposition to customers strong to keep your best customers in a downturn. Well, what do you see happening over the balance of the year in the business markets?
Yeah, I'm certainly not an economist, but I'm seeing the enthusiasm on the marketing side continue to grow. There's a bit of a backlash going on right now against marketing technology, a category that has grown so rapidly over the last 10 years or so. And marketers are realizing that the next new cool technology is not going to solve all of their problems, that they really need strategy and, as you said, a clear competitive differentiation and an ability to explain your value proposition. But at the same time, there are exciting new developments every day. Like one of my favorite is the arrival of chatbots on B2B websites today, which can not only turn your website into a lead generator and de-anonymize what was otherwise an anonymous visit, but chatbots can cut through customer questions really quickly and speed up the sales process. So it's pretty exciting new development.
Well, it could be something for us in the banking and customer service field and taking care of credit card customers. We'll have to take a look at that. Ruth Stevens, hope you'll keep in touch while you're traveling, and our best wishes for safe and interesting, productive trips. And we appreciate the chance to chat with you.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate it.
Our pleasures. Ken Kraetzer for CBSIServices, talking business today with Ruth Stevens in New York, President of eMarketing Strategies, and a very active LinkedIn page. Good to check out. So, Ruth, thank you. And so from New York for CBSIServices, talking business, this is Ken Kraetzer.